Hi, I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, self-made millionaire, and creator of Total Money Magnetism. In this video, we're going to talk about the 5 phrases that you'll never hear from a millionaire. Now, back in the day, I used to be the total opposite of a millionaire. I don't mean just what I had in the bank, but also the kind of thoughts in my head. Most people look at wealthy people or entrepreneurs and say, wow, wouldn't it be nice to have a nice house, a fancy car, and a ton of money in the bank? But you'll never hear them say, wow, I wish I could think like a millionaire. That's because most folks take the power of the right mindset for granted. To them, being a millionaire is about the things they see on the surface. And worse, they don't realize that the only thing separating them from the rich is their mental habits. So that's why I wanted to get into the top 5 things millionaires would never say, because these phrases only come from a weak, needy mindset. Okay, before we continue, I'd like to remind you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and post your comments below. If something in this video resonates with you, go ahead and do that. Better yet, tell me how you're going to overcome your personal roadblocks to attracting massive wealth in your life. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And by the way, if you find yourself saying any of these phrases, don't worry, I've got something to fix that real quick. But now, let's jump into the first phrase you'll never hear from a millionaire. Number 1, money's not important to me. So the first phrase is money's not important to me. Honestly, I know where this is coming from because I used to think like this. There I was, angry and bitter that other people were getting their piece of the pie while poor old me was drowning in a sea of debt. I had painted myself into a corner, and so I was super stressed all the time about the bills that haunted my dreams. Worse, the bank was breathing down my neck, and that made me all the more negative about money. So it came to a point where I convinced myself money was the root of evil because I didn't have enough of it. Who needs money anyway, I thought. It's just a source of misery to the world. Everyone would be better without it. But eventually I realized that money was merely a tool, nothing more. Anyone, be it a good person or a bad person, can use it for whatever purpose they like. Harv Eker, a speaker, financial coach, and author of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, said that, quote, money will only make you more of what you already are, end quote. Now, if you're a nice person, then having money will make you a pretty swell guy or gal. But if you're up to no good, then money will, to put it bluntly, make you more of a bigger jerk. If I could go back in time and talk to the old me, I'd tell him that money is in fact important. You can use currency for great things like pursuing your passions, creating value in the world, and helping others help themselves. Number 2, I should hold on to my money and not risk losing it. All right, so the second phrase you'll never hear from a millionaire is, I should hold on to money and not risk losing it. But the thing about building wealth is that you need to accept that there's always an element of risk. Whatever you do, you're going to incur some losses along the way. That sounds scary to the non-millionaires, but only because they don't see that opportunity is on the other side of that coin. The higher the risk, the bigger the payoff. Now, I'm not encouraging you to start gambling away your money or recklessly invest in something you're not sure of. Before you take any risk in life, you should attempt your best to calculate the odds first so that you can make an informed decision. And if you do mess up from time to time, well, you should remember that there's a lesson to be found there as well. There's no teacher like good old-fashioned experience. And that's the secret to growing your wealth. Number 3, I can do it by myself. The third phrase is, I can do it by myself. People who never achieve success and wealth have this phrase in the back of their heads. They might not be aware of it, but a lot of folks subconsciously take the lone wolf route, and this kind of thinking trips them up. They think that if they can't pull it off without help, well, then they shouldn't bother at all. This can be a pride thing, or sometimes it's an excuse that they make up to keep themselves from attempting anything. You should remember that even the self-made millionaires out there have help. They've got got the mentors that help them understand the business and a team of people working behind the scenes. Not only that, they collaborate with partners and they get investors to help put up their business. You might have heard of the expression, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, this kind of applies to wealthy entrepreneurs too. Somewhere along the way to getting rich, you're going to need help. But you don't have to wait to get it, because you can proactively seek out people to guide you and help you see things from another perspective. You can start building your support network of friends and colleagues who will be more than happy to help you get to where you want to be. And when it's your turn to be a mentor to someone else later on, you can pay it forward, okay? So let's move on to the next one. Number 4, it can't be done. Okay, so it can't be done is another statement that you'll never hear from a millionaire. When most people hit a barrier to success and wealth, they come to a grinding halt and they turn around. This is why you need to unlearn the habit of quitting at the first sign of resistance. A lot of times I get people telling me they can't do it for whatever reason. So I tell them, well, have you attempted doing it like this? And they say, no, I haven't. And this comes from this mindset that sees obstacles as setbacks instead of opportunities. They'll attempt a couple of things, but when things get a little tough and they're not comfortable, well, then they stop doing what they're doing, they stop pushing forward, and they give up. The truth is that there's always more than one way to approach challenges. And that's why you need to get into the habit of looking at it from different angles and considering different options. Otherwise, those barriers to success aren't going to move by themselves. Don't forget that these challenges are what separate rich people from poor people. If only people knew how much stronger and smarter they'd be for working harder, attempting harder. Like I said in my last point, don't be afraid to find other folks who can help you figure things out. You don't have to go it alone. Number 5, someday I'm going to be rich. And the last statement you'll never hear from a millionaire is, someday I'm going to be rich. That seems a little unusual, doesn't it? How could you accomplish something if you don't dream about it happening first, right? And if someone didn't dream about becoming a millionaire, how else would they become rich? Well, the challenge with a lot of folks is that they get stuck in the wanting phase, but never get around to taking action. So there's nothing wrong with making those someday I'm going to be kind of statements. Nothing wrong with the statement itself. Most folks dream of becoming rich or making more money than they are now at the very least, but the difference between people who get stuck dreaming about it and those who actually make it is action. When you have action, that's when you make it happen. Action is what makes those some days into concrete, tangible reality. So you've got to find a way to infuse action into your plans so that you can get to where you want to be. All right, that about does it for this video. So let's do a quick recap of the 5 statements you'll never hear from a millionaire. Number 1, money is not important to me. Number 2, I should hold on to my money and not risk losing it. Number 3, I can do it by myself. Number 4, it can't be done. And number 5, someday I'm going to be rich. Now, before we go, let me leave you with one last thought. Being wealthy is the process of visualizing your dreams in life and crystallizing that ideal state into your mind, then transforming those thoughts into actionable steps that you can work on every day. I can help you transform that someday kind of energy into total money magnetism, which is going to help you effortlessly attract massive wealth into your life. It starts with 6 simple steps, and you'll find it in my free ebook, which you can download by going to www.totalmoneymagnetism.com/skill. Again, just head on over to www.totalmoneymagnetism.com/skill and get your copy today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.